And now I would love to actually introduce our panel discussion. Hello, hello, welcome. Good
Hello.
morning to you. Good morning.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning,
Hello.
Katie. Good morning, Valerie.
This is actually Valerie Zeller and Mark Christopoulos, and this is going to be a sponsored fireside chat. So shout out to our another wonderful sponsor, Sci-Forma, and Valerie Zeller is here to represent. No pressure, Valerie. Represent Sci-Forma on her behalf, and this is going to be a fireside chat on how increased C-level visibility has helped Sangamo Therapeutics to accelerate portfolio decisions. And as you can tell, Mark Christopoulos is here to actually have this warming fireside chat with Valerie, who is actually the Senior Director R&D Portfolio from Sangamo Therapeutics. So it's going to be very, very interesting. Please, all attendees, I can see the comments start flowing in, so keep them coming. We're going to take definitely some time towards the fireside chat to answer them, or actually Valerie and Mark I'll just assist. And this way I'm going to give them my word, and I'm very excited. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you, Katie.
Glad to be here.
So good morning, everyone, and good morning, Mark. Very happy to be here with you this morning. And as Katie said, so this is a discussion about the benefits of PPM2, and I'll be having a discussion with Mark. So Mark, you are the senior director at Sangamo Therapeutics, and you are in charge of the R&D portfolio. So maybe we could begin the discussion with having a little bit more background about yourself and what led you to this position, to your present position at Sangamo.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks, Valerie, and thanks, everybody. So I've kind of focused my career around building portfolios. So when I started my career with what was Anderson Consulting, is now Accenture, spent a lot of time in project management, program management roles, setting up PMOs, eventually evolved into building portfolios for organizations. And that I carried with me to other roles at other companies. My biggest stint prior to Sangamo was working at Varian Medical Systems in the med device industry, building portfolios on the IT side, and then working on the product side and kind of bolstering the product portfolio for Varian Medical Systems on the product side. I was ready to take on another challenge, and then so just a little under 2 years ago, connected with Sangamo to work on the R&D portfolio. So for me, I really enjoy building portfolios. There's a lot of great opportunity I found in terms of problem solving, working with others. It's a great combination of data, psychology, if you will, best practices and governance. There's lots of interaction between all the project managers, program managers, and all the executive decision makers that find it's a very dynamic role typically, which is why I enjoy it.
Yeah, during our preparation call, Mark, you even told me that you fell in love with a project portfolio management at some point. Can you elaborate a little bit on that? Tell us again what you find so interesting and captivating about managing portfolios.
Sure. So I started my career as an electrical engineer. I started working, I'm really dating myself here. I worked on the space shuttle program for Rockwell International down in Southern California. And I mean, as an engineer, we enjoy the equations, the data, the certainty of being able to get to design, but also around build. I think as an engineer at heart, I enjoy the building of new capabilities. And so I think as I learned all about program implementation and organizational transformation during my years at Accenture, I think as I kind of fell into and discovered PMOs in general and portfolio management, I think it really appeals to the build side of me, because you can really, with all the capability and best practice and the standards and the process, you can build an organization that is a great melding of people and process and capability that I think can really move the needle for organizational change. It can really impact strategy. You can take, finally, it's a great meeting of where the vision and strategy for a company actually kind of where the rubber meets the road, as you're selecting your projects and making sure that your projects are on track, making sure that you're killing projects in the right way, and so on and so forth. So I think I found there's just tremendous opportunity and advantage in getting a portfolio capability that works. It's helping build and improve the machine, but then it also appeals to my data side because there's so much data that's required to bring in to help that decision making and make sure that the machine is operating well. And then finally, later in life, I think I found as I started getting more and more involved with executive decision making, it became really apparent to me the psychology side of it, which I never thought of myself as having a psychological bent or interest, but kind of behavioral psychology became a side hobby of mine as I recognized that it really is, there's so much of it that's an art, not a science, which I never expected, and it's kind of been a huge growth opportunity for me. I've really enjoyed.
Thank you. Very interesting. So I read some very exciting news recently on LinkedIn, I think, about a new product that you are releasing at Sangamo. So can you tell us a little bit more about what you're building at Sangamo and what is your area of focus as a company?
Sure, thanks. So yeah, we're really excited at Sangamo. We just made a major announcement at our quarterly earnings just a week or two ago, and the big excitement is around one of our leading clinical programs, and that's about an orphan disease called Fabry. And Sangamo is one of the reasons I'm at Sangamo is what we do is help people that the industry in general is just not geared to help address issues for. So people that have diseases that are acute and unique, but the patient count is so low, the traditional pharma industry just is not addressing the issues because the market's just not big enough. That coupled with their diseases are very difficult to treat with traditional therapies. What Sangamo brings to the equation, we have a very unique technology platform the zinc finger platform that addresses these types of diseases at the genomic level. And so Fabry, to be specific, we just announced results from our phase 1/2 trial. We're announcing moving into our phase 3 trial, which is all very exciting. And it's just one of the therapies that we're going to be bringing to market, hopefully at some point in the future, that addresses the issues and challenges that the patients have to suffer from every day. People that suffer from Fabry disease, they suffer from pain, tremendous amounts of pain, and other symptoms that keep them out of everyday life. They're not. Many of them have a tough time just enjoying and going, getting things that we enjoy every day, enjoying exercise, being able to work. Physical, what we consider just regular physical activity is a real challenge for these folks because of the pain in their joints. They lack the ability to sweat. And we are very hopeful that our therapy can help address those issues for these people.
So it would be interesting to know, and that's my next question. I guess you have a lot of projects at different stages in your portfolio. So how is your portfolio structure, and what are your challenges or issue, or the challenges and issue you were having and maybe led you to consider a PPM tool, a PPM software?
Sure. So Fabry disease, the Fabry project is just one of many projects that we've got in our portfolio. And our technology platform is such that there is any number of diseases that we can go after and create therapies to chase. And what had started just not too long ago, just a few years ago, Sangamo was able to have a portfolio that just was a few projects. We only had, I don't know, 100 to 150 people in the entire company. We were able to track all of our projects very easily and with spreadsheets and with PowerPoint, quite frankly. A few years ago, we implemented MS Project so the project managers could track these very long, complex projects that span across years, hundreds or even thousands of lines of tasks, assigning the resources and so on. But the overall data management of which projects are on track, what's the status, what are their challenges, even resource constraints were such that it wasn't that difficult. Executive visibility, they could kind of put all the status in one slide deck, and it wasn't a big deal. Rocket forward to today, we have got a number of projects that span across a number of different patient targets. We've got 2 separate locations. We've got a lot more employees, and the complexity of managing all these projects between internal activities, external activities with our partners, the challenges that affect those projects that we're all very familiar with, whether it be the research challenges, the resource challenges, supply chain challenges, external resource challenges. It was, when you multiply all those factors together, strict visibility was just becoming a challenge. And so my big thing in working with the internal team is trying to bring visibility to help overall decision making. Our executives were understandably staying very involved with the projects, helping guide them, helping sponsor them, which was awesome. But everybody, all of us, need information in order to make great decisions with. And so what was happening was there was just the information sharing, whether it be at a portfolio readout or at a research committee meeting, or just standard discussion around issues. The pulling together the information of what's the latest plan, what are the latest dates. There was constant movement of dates between external entities and our internal folks, and the multiple departments. The nervousness in the schedule was high because there's so many moving pieces. We all get it, right? But you need to understand what's the current state, what's the plan of record, and that was becoming more and more difficult. So for us, the real challenge was making sure we've got the latest plan and getting it captured, having a system of truth, and then being able to roll up that information at an executive level, so you don't have to go through a couple dozen worth of project plans to try to get a sense of it, rolling up to a dashboard level so you can look at the key milestones. The departments themselves can look across and say, just show me my milestones, show me regulatory. Can go in and say what's impacting me, what's coming, what's about to impact my world. Same for non-clinical, same for the clinical team, for CMC. This kind of became our rallying cries, having that system of record and being able to slice it so that each department and the executive team could get to what they need. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. It's you achieve real-time data centralization, and so when you have that, you can really make a fast, quick decision and be able to be flexible and agile in your decision, right?
Yeah, frequently we were in a mode where an executive, understandably, had a question, a reasonable question. What's the latest date for this particular piece of the project? And it would result in a fire drill of the PM working with his or her counterparts across the organization, trying to pull together what's the latest and greatest information around that task, around that milestone, and then report it out. And then frequently it was obsolete. Once you put it on a slide, the next week it was obsolete. So no one could really trust slides that were more than a couple weeks old. You had to make sure you had the latest version. Yes, so getting that system or that source of truth and being able to roll it up. Yes.
Okay, great. Yes, definitely. That's what we are seeing with, of course, all our clients, the ability to centralize the data to accelerate decision. Definitely. Yeah. And be more flexible and agile in their work and in their portfolio decision.
Right. Because in essence, that's what it's all about, right? Being able to
Yes.
support decision making. If
Yeah.
you're creating charts that no one is looking at, what's the point? But being able to provide the data at the point of decision making, and yeah, to make it more fluid, make it more agile, so that you can meet the market need, you can take advantage of opportunities. You're not stuck in kind of just analysis mode.
Yes. So now you are able to manage the fire drills in a reasonable time. You are happy about that?
Very much so. Of course, we're still in the throes of kind of getting everyone used to the new system and going to using dashboards rather than going to the most recent slide decks. There's a bit of change management involved, getting everyone used to what's new. So that's kind of where we're at now. But very much looking forward to. We definitely have our source of truth, our system of record, where we have all the project plans in one place, and everyone goes to that one place and keeps them maintained. No longer do we have a source of truth spanning across 2 or 3 different tools, multiple slide decks, and MS Project. That's well behind us now. So it's a very exciting time.
Okay. So let's discuss then a little bit about the implementation and the adoption. How did you face the implementation, roll out the solution and how did you get your project managers, your team to embrace the tool and adopt it?
Sure. So I was working closely with our person that was administering our MS Project repository. She actually was the project manager implementing the solution, and we partnered very well together in terms of giving everybody on board. I think one best practice that fortunately we did from the get-go is that we involved as many people as possible in the decision making. So full well knowing that this solution to be successful was going to have to be enterprise wide, right? All the departments were going to have to be able to provide information in terms of estimates, in terms of resourcing, in terms of status updates, making sure that the dates are real. Everyone was going to have to embrace it. So we spoke to we've got our own project management staff within the PMO, but also they have project management counterparts embedded within each department. We realized early on that we needed to involve all those people, not just in the project, but in the very decision making of selecting the solution. So we had a series of use cases, reviewed those use cases in advance with everybody, make sure everyone was on board with them, and then ran those use cases through the different solutions that we were considering, and then took their feedback. And I think that was probably one of the biggest aspects that helped contribute to our success here, is that we had everyone felt embedded, everyone felt invested in what solution we're picking and why we were going to a new solution. They were all suffering through everything I just got done talking about in terms of the churn and the information and the slide deck maintenance. So they were ready, willing, and able to go to a better place. We kept them involved with not just why we're doing this, but where we want to go.
Mm-hmm. And in terms of functionalities that you implemented, how did you choose to implement the solution? Did you begin with a few functionalities and then decide to mature your processes? So how did it look?
Yeah, so I think it was there was two directions that we were two key aspects that we were going against. One, the project management aspect. As anyone that can tell you that has implemented tools in this space, the project managers are absolutely critical in making sure that your adoption is successful. If the PMs don't embrace the solution, you're dead, right? Because they're maintaining the schedules that at the most detailed level are feeding you. They're the fuel that provides the data for everything else, whether you're doing more higher level program management, understanding what are the individual projects within your program, or getting up to the portfolio level, rolling all the way up to your budgets and status and schedule and resources. If the schedules aren't up to date, if the schedules aren't realistic and current, you've gone nowhere. So I think the critical aspect was making sure that they have embraced their workflow, their user interfaces, their user experience, all of that is addressed. And I felt like we really worked hard to make sure that we were meeting that need, number one. And they were all very familiar with using MS Project and a number of the solutions out there, one way or another, kind of, a Gantt chart is a Gantt chart, right? You've got tasks, you've got schedules, you've got dates. But one of the aspects that we liked about Cyforma was that user interface was very friendly and easy for them to use. There's a couple things that were a definite improvement over MS Project for the use cases that our project managers find themselves in day to day, in working with their colleagues and with their constituent groups, doing their planning and estimating and kind of scenario modeling. So for the user interface for the PMs, that was critical. And then secondarily, also, selfishly, I needed to be able to roll the milestones up, and that interface needed to be easy, not only for me to do, but when we ultimately have those dashboard results, needed to be accessible and consumable, digestible by all of our different constituents across the middle layers as well as the executive layers across the organization. So the kind of the key trade-offs that we were looking for in a new solution that I think we were pleased with.
Okay. We did not discuss so much resource management. Are you using the tool to manage your resources, or not yet at this point?
We're just now starting to kind of crack that nut. For us, just providing visibility to the milestones on a departmental level for us is moving the needle. So crawling before we can walk, we're getting out everybody to see, okay, for non-clinical, here's all the milestones across all the projects that are coming your way. Here's a concentration of all the studies and all the people that are assigned, and the various other activities that are coming your way, and they can kind of roll that up. That in of itself is helpful. Now we're moving, and in parallel with that, we're also moving into more detailed resource analysis in understanding for all the people that are assigned, what's the overall FTEs, doing that supply demand match, and looking forward to kind of presenting that at the executive level for decision making. What's our prioritization? Do we want to accelerate, decelerate? Which projects deserve the attention and the resources? Are there other resource constraints that can be addressed in other ways? Do we need contractors? Do we need external help? Do we need a delay? But those kinds of conversations I'm looking forward to having now that we've got the data at our disposal.
Yeah, great. So I think if maybe I'll ask you my last question so we can wrap up and maybe take some questions from the audience if we have any. So to wrap it up, what are the three main benefits you are seeing as of today, since you implemented Cyforma, a PPM software?
So number one is visibility. I think our various stakeholders are already getting improved visibility compared to where they were before. Even with all the fire drills around slides and the various tools, I think the biggest complaint was people just didn't know what was going on. And we have a lot more, as we get our dashboards deployed, there's a lot more visibility we're going to be bringing, but already we're getting good feedback from people having that visibility. Visibility provides a lot of benefits in terms of better decision making, better schedules, more predictable schedules, right? All those things. We don't have any metrics yet on those, but just having visibility alone helps productivity, helps decision making, helps engagement. So that's number one. Number two, we are still in the process of getting people out of the slides. Again, the slides serve specific audiences within Sangamo, and we're weaning those audiences off of the slides. We're just starting on that process. As that happens, the project manager's time is getting freed up, so they can focus on much more valuable activities, helping accelerate the projects, resolving issues more proactively, things of that nature. So between visibility and PM's time, I think those are probably our biggest benefits.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mark. Very interesting. Katie, I don't know if we have time to answer any question. If there are any
Of
questions.
course, this was wonderful. What a wonderful duo you two are, and I'm pretty sure that people love hearing first-hand experience on everything that's happening within companies. And I know many people try to be as confidential as possible, but you've covered it so beautifully. Thank you so much again for joining us, both of you, really. And as I said, shout out to Sci-Forma for sponsoring and for actually being one of our wonderful sponsors. There is one question from Rosa. Quite a simple one, but very interesting one. Which tool do you use? Everyone wants to know this question, to everyone who I speak to, and I do ask that question as well. So please, which tool do you use?
So we installed Sci-Forma. We went live with Sci-Forma back in October, and it's the implementation has, we've had our challenges, but we're up and running now. We've got everybody in on the system, and it's we're very pleased with our choice.
Perfect. So the transition was smooth.
Yeah.
Perfect. And that was a great question.
We were using MS Project and a variety of Microsoft tools, and it just got to be too much of a headache, and it didn't satisfy the visibility needs that we had. So we wanted to go more of an integrated solution, of which Sci-Forma offers.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. There's actually one question from Maitili. I'm going to read that out loud because we do have time. Maitili, thank you so much. Could you elaborate a bit on what criteria were used for software/tool selection? There are so many solutions out there. So how did you identify the one that is fit for purpose for you?
Sure. So, yeah, we defined our use cases up front as to what we wanted to see, and that became kind of our touchstone with our people that are involved, the decision makers. We had the project managers that were involved, as well as people more at the portfolio level. So for us, that usability for each of those constituent, each of those audiences, that was key. That's giving their feedback, saying, did you like using the tool? And Sci-Forma was very cooperative, and we would some of our use cases, and they were very cooperative with us and kind of creating interactive environments so that our people could actually participate. So that worked very well. That usability criteria was satisfied. Also, we wanted to be able. We needed a tool that could satisfy our various process levels, our workflows. So project management, again, was that foundational level. We need to make sure the PMs were bought in and could get value and use the tool easily. But also, we want to make sure that we could easily roll up the data. We didn't need to do a whole lot of configuration and detailed work, additional programming and so on, to be able to get access to the milestone levels and into the resource configuration or resource management levels. So I would say the usability for the different constituent groups was probably the key criteria, but then also being able to get at the data easily, and we found Sci-Forma was great on both.
What a professional and well answered question. Mark, you're great. Thank you so much. And actually, that was the last question that we've had for you. Please, anyone, if you'd like to connect, Mark is actually, I'm going to say it again, Mark is one of our ambassadors for the PPM Workout platform. Feel free to connect there with him to ask him and challenge him with more questions, Sci-Forma related or anything else PPM related. Please do so. And Valerie, thank you again so very much for coming, for joining, for making Mark feel challenged, hopefully a little bit. And it was a pleasure. We do have, I can actually say we do have panelists ready. We're going to have 4 wonderful, wonderful professionals joining us. So I'm going to say thank you so much again to Mark and Valerie. And we're going to come back with another 4 wonderful people to join us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Katie.
Thank you, Valerie.
Thank you.